Hi, I'm Big Meach, and this is a Big Meach Moment. Lord have mercy. Child's cheering. Honey, y'all are going in and are going ham on Gayle King. Um, and quite frankly, I'm about to say something that is going to be against the grain. Uh, and many of you are going to try to come for me after this. However, I'm going to ask that unless it is constructive and we're able to have a dialogue, save all that fuck shit, okay? Um, because here we have to learn how to agree to disagree, or learn how to speak in a way to be disagree when we disagree, and not become disagreeable, okay? Let me preface this by saying that I truly believe that oftentimes when it comes down to those who we love and those who we cherish, okay, particularly the African American community or persons of color, those who are heroes and sheroes, oftentimes when we have hard questions or things that are questionable in their past, or scandals or whatever that has been in their a part of their legacy, a part of their history, part of their makeup, it's very difficult for us to have these kind of conversations, and particularly when they pass on, um, especially when the focus becomes, or it seems as though the focus becomes only on the negative, okay, or it seems like it just comes out of a blue. You know what I mean? Um, I have watched the Gayle King interview, not in its entirety. I've seen more than the clip that's being shown. I've seen before the clip. I've seen it's like a whole 7.5, almost 8 minutes of the interview that I've seen. I've not seen it in its entirety. I would love to see it in its entirety so I can keep everything within perspective. Um, However, having said all that, I know a number of you, particularly the black community, and all my hoteps and all my power to the people children, I feel it as though Gayle has desecrated, or is trying to desecrate, on the legacy of Kobe Bryant, and et cetera, et cetera. Let me say this. We know what the media does, and we know what media is, okay? As someone who has a radio show, and now I'm embarking on a television show as well, I'm not a professional journalist. However, I am a social commentary, uh, uh, pop culture commentator, and I give my own commentary, as many of us do. I do it in a public platform. Oftentimes, we have to understand what that responsibility is. I've interviewed a number of celebrities, and I understand that my approach is a little different from everyone else's, because I pride myself on being able to tackle sensitive subjects and things without it seeming as though this is a dig, this is throwing you under the bus and carrying on. As difficult as it may be to have these conversations, they have to be had. And watching what I've seen of the interview, it seems as though I believe that's what Gayle was trying to do, was trying to put this into perspective. With asking Lisa Leslie rather, her stance on a few things. I feel that it was warranted to come from the best friend. And I love the fact of how Leslie's message was that to all media, okay, and it was to be able to shut down the naysayers. I'm going to also say this: y'all jumping on Gayle, but at any given point of this interview, if Lisa did not feel comfortable with those questions, and before it aired, if she did not want that particular part of it to be shown, she could have easily said to have this edited out. She had control before she signed off on it, before it was released. She could have easily said, let's not put that in there. Okay? I really believe that her message to all of media was to let this shit go. My question to everyone who's upset is, what exactly are we upset about? Are we upset at the fact that GAYLE was the one to ask the question? Or what are we upset at the fact of the timing of it all? We're still at the beginning stages of grieving. Okay, we haven't even had Kobe's funeral yet, and his daughters. Um, so I understand that right now a lot of people are very sensitive. I'm still sensitive, okay, because there's some things that have gone out. There's a meme that goes out that I hit the roof about because I felt that that shit was bogus and it had no business being put out there. It's a meme that says, Kobe Bryant is the first black man who left and took his child with him. When I saw that, I didn't even pass it around, to share it because I was so outraged. I did not even want to give that bullshit any kind of credence. Okay, I didn't want to give it any kind of anything. I talked about it because it was very, 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 very that way. Okay, it was fucking ridiculous. Okay. And it was an insult not only to Kobe's legacy, but to black fathers everywhere. Okay? To sit down there, to be heinous, and to let negativity like that come forward. There's another, it was a comedian, the white comedian, who sit out there and put a video out that says, karma comes around and does things, and right now a rapist got what he deserved, and Kobe is no longer here. He's laughing about it and carrying on. When I found out he was a comedian, because somebody had done the research and found out that this man was a comedian, now it was supposed to be a jokey joke. No, fuck you, nigga. Okay? Yeah, I said nigga, fuck you. Okay? Because that wasn't no jokey joke. Okay? And that was a little that way. Okay, because of the demeanor and how he presented it. One of the things I truly believe is that if you can find laughter in anything, regardless of how heinous it is, it will start the process of you learning how to get over it. Okay, there are certain points where some jokes are too soon, some jokes are just absolutely not funny, and it has no place to be there, and it is ridiculous. In this case, even with media and how we cover this stuff, I get tired of folks who want to sit down there and to bring this stuff up of the past. GAYLE bringing this up, in my opinion, and y'all are going to disagree, I'm sure. But if you see the whole interview, at least the 7 minutes that I saw, where she painted Kobe's picture, his legacy, his humor, what he was as a father, how he was, she set him up to be the light that we all know him to be. At the same time, the questions that she asked, and my favorite question was, do you think that it's a fair question to ask, or is this part of his legacy? Okay. Talking to his best friend, okay, that there, when Lisa sat up there and said what she said, that there was the message, I believe, because we have to get that message out there. There's time to leave it alone. The thing of it is that this wouldn't be an issue had it not been brought to the forefront to begin with at the time of his death. Now, that's where it's all fucked up. Whoever decided to go back and talk about the 2003 allegations and carrying on, that was fucked up to begin with. Now that it's out there, we can't not do and not want to have it talked about because it's out there. We have to address it, and we have to address it in a loving way, and in a way that's going to not put folks up under the bus. Now, my approach would have been differently. I've interviewed a number of celebrities. I've interviewed Fantasia right after her suicide attempt. I've interviewed Shantae Moore right after, right when she was going through the stuff with the divorce and carrying on. And there's a number of things that happens where celebrities get pressed. I've interviewed Beyonce's dad and asked him, in a loving way about, how to deal with negative press. Okay, now my approach is different. You know, my approach would have been to set up a precedent and be like, listen, I know this next series of questions, this next series is going to be a little difficult. However, because this is what's out here, I want to get your opinion on what you feel the public needs to know from you as his best friend. That's how I would have set it up, and then would have gone into that so that we know that it is sensitive, and yet, but we have to talk about it. So my question again, are we mad at the fact that it was brought up? Or are we mad at the fact that her timing is whatever? Now, what I also want to get out is I really believe that most of us are upset because we're looking at fairness. Okay? We're looking at the fact that why is it that they got the black folks, black journalists going after our black men and this, that, and the other, and all of that. Okay? And if that's what it is, then let's focus there. Let's sit down there and let's constructively, not in no emotional neck roll, pimp up, I'm finna get to blast your motherfucking ass. Let's do this in a constructive manner so that we can challenge media. And but listen, y'all giving this attention here, where is the fairness? If we gonna talk about it, then let's talk about it across the board. Okay? I also believe that because GAYLE and Oprah are best friends and Black America is upset with Oprah, that y'all giving the same, that y'all giving what y'all gave to Oprah onto GAYLE. Simply because, just on GP. So, again, I'm going to say, if that's where the angle is, that we want to talk about fairness, then let's sit up there and get on all media, all of our black medias and all of our black commentators, Roland Martin and all of those particular people. Let's get to them and be like, listen, you are a part of the media. Let's sit up there and let's challenge this. Let's go here. Let's go there. Let's challenge the media to get fair representation. Because don't just talk about our negative stuff, okay? Or bring something up that's going to desecrate the legacy. And I don't believe that desecrating the legacy it is. I think what it is that it's old, and a lot of us thinking that that's so old. Why are you bringing that up now? Same that we did when the LGBT brought up this shit about Kevin Hart, and now they're trying to go after Eddie Murphy about jokes and carrying on. It's old. It's in the past. It was dealt with and it was handled. We still ain't got over the fact that they fucked up with Bill Cosby. That was old, and y'all went after him. Okay? Y'all mad at Oprah about the whole Michael Jackson thing. And Oprah was not the executive producer of the movie. She brought them onto OWN network. And we upset about that. Okay? So let's sit down there and let's challenge it constructively. And let's go about doing that. Because after the interview that I saw, I saw where it was going. I saw what it was trying to do. And I didn't necessarily have a problem with it because I thought Lisa handled it very well, and she gave the media the answer that was needed. Let's shut this shit down. Stop sitting there trying to overshadow this with his legacy, with the legacy of, yes, this is a part of his history, but that's not all. And it was dismissed. It was dismissed. And that's the part that nobody wants to talk about. So if we're going to talk about it in its wholeness. It was dismissed. Okay? And don't bring up the jokes, or don't bring up the shit talking about he bought his wife that ring and this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. That was in the past. He was a 21-year-old man at the time. Okay? So if that's the angle that we're taking, let's go there. Because all this other stuff that she's a coon, she don't like black men, this, that, and that, that's ridiculous. That there is just absolutely ridiculous. I think that's just an emotional plea by saying that, sister, how can you do this? Or why would you do this? And how come it couldn't have been done better? I think that there is the angle that everybody wants to say. But I could be wrong. Okay, I don't want to put words in your mouth. So I want you to tell me exactly what you're mad about. Because as a journalist or as someone who's going to ask questions, we can't sit down there and not talk about the hard stuff because we don't want to hear it. Now, it could be done in a tasteful way. It could be done in a better way. Okay, because somebody said, well, why did she even mention that at all? Well, she had to. So that there was that. Talk to me and let's get this conversation rolling, because right now, that there is my Big Meach moment.